Welcome, everyone, to It's Fine, an official podcast of Broken Arrow Public Schools on the Arrow Vision Network. I'm your host, Adam J. Foreman, Executive Director of Public Relations for Broken Arrow Schools, and we are discussing all things fine arts today, particularly our friend who is retiring from us, Dr. Richard Dale, the Director of Fine Arts for Broken Arrow Schools. And this is made possible by our wonderful One Club sponsors, First National Bank of Broken Arrow, TTCU, the Federal Credit Union, Ascension St. John Broken Arrow, Tulsa Bone and Joint, and the Arrow Group. So let me welcome Dr. Richard Dale. Hello, how are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. I'm wonderful. It's a beautiful day out there.
It is a beautiful day.
And there's only 20-something days of school left.
Yeah.
By the time this airs, it'll be in the 20s somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Dr. Dale, you are retiring from education.
I am.
And that's the rumor we hear, and you're confirming that today.
I am.
So let's talk about your career. I want you to go all the way back. I mean, let's talk about when you were in high school. Let's go all the way back. I want to hear everything. Where'd you go to high school?
Coweta,
America.
Coweta,
So you were a
America.
Tiger from the beginning.
That's true. And my parents still live there.
Interesting.
Just outside of town.
So after you graduated from Coweta, where to after that?
In high school, I was a band kid. Got real serious about it about my sophomore year.
What did you play?
I was a French horn player.
A French horn. Okay, the cool looking thing.
Began taking private lessons and was fortunate enough to make All-State my senior year, which brought along some scholarship offers. Went to OSU as a non-music major on scholarship.
Interesting. So what was your major? Was it education?
My major at the time was communication.
Interesting. How about that?
I hated it.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Went from there and did a semester in the business school, and then a great mentor of mine, Paul Montemuro, sort of cornered me one day and said, "You need to be a music major."
Interesting.
And so I said, "Okay, yeah, sure."
Yeah, what do you got?
And ended up getting married about halfway through college, and so I was on a 5-year plan at that point.
Gotcha.
After was drum major for the Oklahoma State Marching Band for 2 years.
Tell me there's a plaque or a picture or something of you in their Hall of Fame up there.
No, probably not. I think I have a picture someplace. And then my wife and I got our first job in Tonkawa, America.
Tonkawa, Oklahoma.
I was the only music teacher in town. Taught band.
What was like the population in that town, do you think, at that time?
Maybe 1,000.
Oh, wow. So was there just one school then?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
One elementary school, and then the high school was 7 through 12.
Interesting.
But I was the only music teacher. I was there for 5 years, taught choir and band, and also did a couple of years of elementary music. So literally
you did it all.
Yeah.
You did the entire spectrum.
And then went from there. I took a job as a assistant band director in Ponca City, and really enjoyed that. And
were you still getting schooling during the time, or did you just have your bachelor's at this point?
I had my bachelor's at that point. About my third year in Ponca City, I went back and got my master's degree.
And what is that in?
That is in educational administration.
Okay.
And was offered an assistant principal's job my 6th year in Ponca City. I was an assistant principal there for 3 years, and then a principal there for 3 years before coming to Broken Arrow.
What year did you come to BA?
2000.
2000. So you have spent 22 years in our district.
I have.
Fantastic. What school sites have you been at in the last 22 years?
South Intermediate and my current job. I was a principal at South Intermediate for 14, and then I've been in this job for 8.
Wow. So you're a lifer. Like you go the distance. You don't just jump around. That's amazing. So being a principal at a high school, how different of an experience was that than being a fine arts director? What's some major differences there?
I was amazed when I became fine arts director that there's a lunch hour in the middle of the day. It's like, I never knew that as a principal. Being a principal of a large high school is fairly intense. With that age group, you can sort of tell first thing in the morning whether it's going to be an interesting day or a quiet day.
Depending on what side of the bed they all woke up on that morning.
But I enjoyed every year of it. I still just treasure the people that I got to work with at South. A lot of them are here at the high school now.
Interesting.
So a lot of good friends there.
So with that experience, you worked with every grade level. Do you prefer working with older kids? Is that where your passion is?
I do prefer working with older kids. I did a little bit of middle school at one point in Ponca City with the band, and middle school's different. I mean, high school, it's usually a good day or a bad day. Middle school, it can be good hours and bad hours.
They can change from minute to minute. I always say middle school teachers have a special place in heaven.
Yes.
Because my gosh, and I think I've said that a couple times on this podcast. Mm-hmm. That and early childhood teachers.
Yep. I think I did 2 years of elementary music, and first graders and me,
nope.
No
dice.
Not a good idea.
So what are some fun, unique experiences you had over your career? What's something just really monumental that you've experienced? And no pressure. I'm just putting you right on the spot. Like, tell me something fun. Tell me something different.
Fun. I think the most fun I've had has been in the last 8 years as fine arts director. Traveling all over the United States with choir and with band, and it's just to watch those kids and the respect that they get from all over America is really just amazing. To travel with pride it's like traveling with rock stars. I mean,
I've heard that.
They draw a crowd wherever they go.
Is that bizarre that our name is so synonymous with greatness across this world, across the nation?
I've seen people walk up to a Pride student and offer to buy their shirt.
Wow. That's incredible.
Or ask them, where can I get that jacket, you know?
You got to earn that jacket, right? That's incredible. So your wife, also an educator, is that correct?
Yes.
Did I make that up?
Nope. Karen teaches third grade.
So she does have the lower kids, the smaller kids, and that's her thing?
And she's done a combination of first, second, or third her whole career.
Interesting. Is she retiring as well?
She is.
Okay.
She wasn't going to, and then about 6 months ago, my middle child, Ashley, came up to us and said, I'm going to have a baby.
Is this number one for you guys?
This will be our first grandchild.
Well, that's reason enough right there.
So Karen's going to retire and stay home and take care of the kid.
Well, how about that? Well, congratulations, Grandpa. Can I call you that? Does that sound weird?
It does sound weird, yes.
So with fine arts, are you still a musician to this day?
Yes and no. I don't play much anymore. Once I started my doctorate degree, it sort of dropped off, and I do some, but not a lot.
Just the French horn, or did you branch out into other instruments?
No, I play several instruments, but primarily French horn.
Also, let's flash back. You said doctorate because we talked about it earlier. Where did you get your doctorate?
I got all 3 of my degrees from Oklahoma State.
Dang, cowboy for life.
That's right.
For all those fans out there, they're probably cheering right now when they hear that.
Yep.
Yeah, good for you. So let's go back to fine arts. I always ask people this on this show. What is imperative about fine arts in a student's overall educational experience? How important is it?
I think it's very important. It's teaching kids a complete language, a way to express themselves. I think it also teaches kids how to do something as a team and how to do something as good as it can be done anywhere. And I think that's a life skill that our students walk away with. They know how to grab a hold of something, grab a hold of a task, and then do it better than anybody else can do it.
Well, and you were a drum major, so that means you were the leader of the people. What did you get from that aspect of being a leader in a fine arts capacity way back then? I'm making you flash all the way back. Are you ready?
All the way back, yeah. Being drum major at Oklahoma State was a great honor. Really, in the moment, you're just praying that nothing goes wrong and things don't fall apart, which they never did. We were well prepared.
Right.
And I think that's what you learn is do your homework, and everything else will take care of itself.
Well, and if people don't know, they don't just hand the drum major to anybody. Like, that's a very big responsibility.
We did have to audition, yes.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to be really good to be in that aspect. Yeah, so obviously you're good.
I was fortunate enough to be a section leader most of my time at OSU, so I sort of worked my way up through that leadership ranks.
Very cool. So you're leaving education after how many total years?
38 total.
38 total years. Wow. So leaving education, what do you wish and hope for those educators continuing past for the future of not only fine arts, but education in general? What are some, blue sky dreaming you have?
I wish for them to be treated with lots of respect and to get the compensation that they deserve. I know my wife, she doesn't make that much more right now than she did 36 years ago when she started.
Interesting.
And there's something not right about that.
Right. I guess and people always talk about going elsewhere for Texas and Arkansas and Kansas and stuff and whatnot. What can we do to keep our educators here and keep them engaged in our system?
Get teacher pay in Oklahoma up to the regional average.
Did you hear that? It's plain and simple, right?
Yeah, they can go to almost any other state around us and make more money.
Yeah,
the first day that they teach.
We definitely need to be more engaged here. So you said you have a grandchild coming, which means you have kids.
I do. I have 3 kids.
Did your kids go through the Broken Arrow's education system?
Well, my wife teaches at Union.
Okay.
And so the answer to that is yes.
Technically, yes.
The first, Rob, my oldest, went through Broken Arrow, played in band for a while, but was really interested in soccer and played varsity soccer for Broken Arrow.
Interesting.
And then my other 2 went to school with my wife at the elementary she works at, and so they went through Union, and one of them was a drama person, and one of them was a band kid.
So you have all fine arts kids and athletics.
Yes.
A lot of people try to compare those two, but really they're pretty similar practices if you think about it, about the discipline.
Yep.
And teamwork and being there. So you kind of had a full gamut of it. That's good.
And soccer, being an intense soccer parent was a very interesting experience. There's some really intense parents out there when it comes to
Were you an intense soccer dad?
Oh, no, I wasn't. I was just amazed that they get so excited over.
I hear people say that parents like to coach from the stands, and that cracks me up. Well, conversely, there's some pretty intense pride parents too.
They are. Not they don't tend to want to coach as much,
right,
as some of the.
It's kind of frowned upon to yell from the stands or from the audience when they're in the middle of a concert. So, what are some future plans after you retire?
My immediate plans are to take some time off. My wife and I do enjoy traveling, so having some time for that. Of course, the grandchild is a big part of that.
Yeah, that's a major component.
My youngest is getting married in early October, so we've got a wedding coming up.
Awesome.
A baby coming up.
You're just going to do it all at once.
My youngest's fiance is graduating from Oklahoma State this semester.
Another proud cowboy.
Yep. And long term, I would like to, like I said, do some traveling, but also to just have some time for the grandkid, for my kids, and maybe pick up a part-time job someplace just to get myself out of the house.
Yeah.
And just maybe do some volunteer work.
Yeah. Yeah. Just don't get too crazy. Definitely enjoy yourself.
Yes.
So you mentioned travel. What are some places that you would love to go?
Wife and I have been fortunate enough to travel to Europe twice.
Oh, nice.
So
bucket list for me, by the way.
I'd like to go back to Italy, specifically the center region of Italy, there around Florence.
Tell me why.
Really, it is just an amazingly beautiful place to be with the great food.
Well, there you just got me just then.
And like Florence is small enough you can walk the whole city.
Interesting. And they have lots of culture there, lots of arts and music and all that stuff.
Yes. And then I would like to also go back to the northern part of England. specifically around the York area. That's where my ancestors came from.
Interesting.
Nicholas Dale came to the United States in 1624 as an indentured servant.
Wow.
To the Virginia area.
How did you find all that out?
Just a little bit of investigation.
Interesting. So you want to go see where your family's from, and where? So you've never been there, or you want to go back there?
Karen and I have been to London, the London area, but never to the northern part.
Interesting.
Up around York, and maybe go ahead and travel up into Scotland.
I would love to go to Ireland. That's always been a dream vacation of mine too.
The other half of my bloodline is Irish, and my mom and dad have been there twice, I think.
Interesting. Well, what about in the United States? Where some places you'd like to go visit?
I love going to the ocean, either coast.
Either coast.
I've been to both, but I'd love to go back. Maybe up around the Washington, D.C., Philadelphia area.
I've always wanted to go to New England as well. I'm a lighthouse person. I want to go on a lighthouse tour of New England. I think that would be the coolest thing in the world. That'll be for me in about 30 years when I'm actually allowed to retire. Well, Dr. Dale, any final thoughts that you would like to leave your listeners and the district as a whole and everything before you sign off?
I would just say that the Fine Arts Department is stronger now than when I came, so I'm very proud of that. And it's being left in really good hands with some of the best teachers in Oklahoma, best teachers in the United States. And so it is. The fine arts programs here are very strong all the way around, whether it's visual art or band or choir or orchestra. They're all really strong programs, and they will continue to be.
Well, you hear that saying, leave the place better than when you found it. I think you did it.
Thank you.
I think you did it, and we're super excited for you. We're sad to see you go, but we're super excited for your journey after this. So thank you for being on here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. That was Dr. Dale. Richard Dale, the Director of Fine Arts Broken Arrow, as he will be leaving us at the end of the semester. So let's bid him a good time and farewell and best wishes. And that's it for today, Dr. Dale. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right. That was It's Fine, the official podcast of Broken Arrow Schools on the Arrow Vision Network. And we'll see you next time.